Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing another cinematography breakdown for Star Wars Andor. We're going to be talking about episode 1 specifically, some of the shot techniques used, and yeah, it's going to be great. If you don't know who I am, my name is Brent Erickson. I'm a filmmaker. I shoot lots of sports content, lifestyle, mini documentary, and some other fun stuff. And we're going to be breaking down, again, the cinematography techniques used in the new series Star Wars Andor that has just came out. Already in episodes 1 through 3, we've seen tons of great cinematography, fundamentals, some really artistic stuff, and some stuff that I'm personally a huge fan of, being a big fan of Tron, Blade Runner, and just the whole cyberpunk type, westerny vibe. I feel like Star Wars Andor does a great job of bringing that to life. So arguably the most important thing, in my opinion, the most interesting thing about this entire production for all the episodes is that it was not shot using Stagecraft. So basically Stagecraft, what it does is it is a wraparound super high quality LED screen, and filmmakers are able to actually actively track the camera to the surroundings to make it super realistic, and it's very good. But Tony Gilroy and the production team decided to shoot everything on location in different locations all around the world. Most of it shot in the UK, I think. But that is something that you should know going into this, just because a big thing that they've been big on and that I've been noticing a lot of is the textures that they're using and capturing in this film, and how it really is setting it apart, in my opinion, from all the other ones that have been produced. So this first shot here that I got pulled up is from the opening scene. So I'm going to go ahead and take this shot, and we're going to break it down in 3 ways. We're going to talk about the lighting, the composition, and the color palette used in the shot, and we're going to talk about what it accomplishes. So right off the bat, after seeing this, I already know I was going to be a big fan of this, as I'm a big fan of like Cyberpunk 2079, Blade Runner, all these types of, Tron's another big one, all these kind of sci-fi-y movies. This shooting style really lends itself, even like Ender's Game, if any of you guys have seen that movie. I really like the shooting style that's done in, and I feel like there's a lot of crossovers in between, traditional sci-fi films and how it's been shot, and I love that he chooses to integrate that into this. As you guys know too, Jonathan Freeman is the DP for this. He does incredible work. He's with the Game of Thrones, Sands of Anarchy, now Andor, Star Wars. So it's super awesome to see his work on here. He does an incredible job, I think, of completing the style, and it plays very well to his strengths. So something that's really interesting to me, and what I really like about this frame, is the contrast that they create using the light. You see these street lights on the left-hand side. They're using to light this roadway, this railway, this side part. There's like a side wall, I believe. And they use the light from these street lights and this like rail light essentially to create a super contrasty frame, with our subject being in the center. So you're going to see the left side of the subject is lit very well. The right side is nice and dark. Gives us that nice contrasty look to this shot. You also have some lights out in the far right from like a distant city that kind of helps balance the frame, in my opinion. This is not all bright, all dark, and you're still getting some nice spill off from these lights. There's some type of pro mist, I believe, or they could be doing this in post, because I would imagine that these lights are added in post, obviously. Some type of bloom, so they're blooming those highlights to really give it that nice futuristic look. You can see the highlights in distance are also blooming. It's very subtle, but it's very nice, a nice detail I enjoy. In terms of composition, this is just beautifully, the composition, look at these leading lines, the railway right here, right, leading to our subject, our eyes getting drawn here. Again, big fan of what they did with these like rail lights, street lights, I don't even know what to call them. In terms of using them to frame our subject, right, very pleasing frame to the eye, right? These lights are leading directly into where our subject is. This rail helping guide our eye to the subject in the middle. Even the city lights, the way that this building is set up, it all helps frame the subject in the middle, and that's really, really good. And again, I think the color palette here plays super well, right? You have this dark, rainy, so you're going to be doing very blue, very bluesy, kind of like a cobalt almost type of vibe. This reminds me of some of the tungsten film that my friend and I would shoot on. Definitely more of a cooler frame, obviously trying to portray coldness, kind of this mysterious character. You don't know really where he is yet until they introduce the scene. And it gives a really nice opening frame to our main subject, Andor. So the second frame I chose here is a security bureau office. I'm not going to get too deep into the story and whatnot. So we're going to go ahead and zoom into our main subject here, the detective, right? And we're going to go ahead and look at his face, and you know how overall they decided to light him. You're going to see on the right hand side of his face lit very well from the key. They have some type of key light on the right hand side, giving us that nice contrasty look. He has a really nice backlight as well. They create some posts obviously, but they have some type of backlight shooting through these windows, which I'm sure are actually real on set. We're gonna go ahead and zoom out a bit here. We're gonna go and look at how the other subject is lit. It looks like he's being mostly lit from this backlight here, some type of key light over here on the left shooting his right, catching that nice little bit of hair light right there. We got his face is lit. We also have the practical here, the iPad looking thing that is also shooting light up onto his face. I think they do a really good job of creating contrast with this backlight against the background of these windows. Helps create some separation from the frame as well, giving him that depth that you want to accomplish when shooting someone up against the wall like that. So let's go ahead and hop into the framing now. So we got him center frame, obviously. We have our second subject over here on the right. His body is actually acting as a leading line that's helping frame our subject in the center here, drawing our eye. Frame is nice and balanced as well. We have this computer that kind of helps balance the frame, because if it's just him over here and there's nothing over here, this can be feeling very awkward, you know, very empty. They use this window to frame him as well. Want him in the center. You know, that could also be for practical reasons, right, for that backlight. You can see that the skylight is also kind of acting as that practical for the light to be coming through into this headquarters and then bouncing up and through. The overall motion and the color palette for this is really trying to establish some type of credibility, establishing some type of authority, right? You're having these super clean tones, the blue, kind of more muted tones as well. It's not like super strong in your face. This blue tone and what they do with the white is really nice. But yeah, they're just trying to, I'm not going to get too deep into the color science behind it. But I think they do a good job of establishing the emotion that they want to establish with this frame. So the last one we're going to be going over is a medium shot that I really liked. The first one was an establishing shot. The second one was just like a wide shot. Both of them are wide shots, of course, but different purposes for each shot. But for this third one, we're going to be going over this medium shot that I really liked. Again, something that they're doing that I love is they're being super, super contrasty with their frames. You can see the right side of the subject is lit really well with this key light on his face, casting those shadows on the left hand. It's meant to be very dramatic. I love what they did with the background here as well. They're shining some type of overhead light down through this grate of some sort that's creating a super cool texture on the back. If you look at the practicals over here on the right hand side, some type of street light that's shining over, providing what we call motivation for the light on the right hand side of his face. So I really love what they did with this leading line as well with the blaster. You know how it's got our eye up to our subject's face, which is what they want you to focus on. He's portraying emotion, right? And how we're going to capture that emotion is important, and we use the leading line to help, you know, draw our eyes to the center of the frame. He's actually slightly off left, so that right eye is going to be in line just to the left of the center of the frame. We're trying to create a very dramatic effect, obviously, with the way that they're coloring this. I mean, even the texture, like what they're trying to create, like with the grit and the dirt, his clothing, the way that you can see the moisture and the precipitation on his jacket, you know. It's very well done. So yeah, guys, this is a super basic cinematography breakdown of what's going on in the new series Andor. I hope you guys enjoyed. Huge shout out to Tony Gilroy and Jonathan Freeman. Absolutely killing it. I can't wait to see what the rest of the series holds in terms of cinematography and overall storytelling, obviously. If you like this, please let me know down below. I'd love to make more of these. I'm kind of feeling out how well this is going to do, if that makes sense. And I hope to get